When scouting bigs, one of the first things you have to look at is how they do defending in space and on drives. If a big can't move their feet and keep opponents in front of them, it's going to be hard to keep them on the floor for long stretches, especially in big moments. So with that in mind, you might be wondering, who are the bigs right now who do this at a high level? Although Brooklyn had a disappointing season, this is probably Nick Claxton's best skill. He slides his feet extremely well at his size, and opponents rarely beat him off the dribble. In fact, not only has he defended the most drives among bigs when switched on to a guard this season, but among the 31 big men who have defended at least 40 shots by guards on drives, he has the lowest defensive blow-by percentage at 15.8%. That's an incredible mark. Second on that second spectrum list is Precious Achiuwa. His defensive blow-by percentage with guards shooting on the drive against him is 16.5%, and that's with the Knicks and Raptors combined this season. Many thought he was just a throw-in in that trade that also brought OG Anunoby to New York, but he's made a huge impact for the Knicks since his arrival. Bam Adebayo is always one of the best at this. His forecasting of opponent movements and advanced technique to use his big body to stay attached to handlers on the perimeter is just truly extraordinary. Very few players are as good as him at forcing opponents to reroute on drives. Guards have shot just 33.9% on a drive against Adebayo, the lowest mark amongst qualified centers. Similar in that way is Evan Mobley. Now, obviously, he missed a lot of games this season due to injuries, but his footwork combined with his length is outstanding. Even though he ended up stumbling on this play that helped Paul George get enough space for the go-ahead jumper in Cleveland's game against the Clippers, the first 6-7 seconds of Mobley defending is remarkable. I did a full video on him recently, but Jonathan Isaac is just absolutely sensational guarding in space. It's rare for players to even get shots off on drives against him. Of the 73 forwards and centers who have defended at least 40 drives in which a guard ends up passing the ball off, the blow-by percentage with Isaac defending is a league low 7.3%. That's an astonishingly low mark. His Orlando Magic teammate Wendell Carter Jr. is one of the more underrated big man defenders in space. Also underrated at this is Paul Reed. Two guys who have been good at this for years are Anthony Davis and Al Horford. Even at 37 years old, Horford ranks third in that defensive blow-by percentage category among centers while defending guards on drives. As far as the elite rim protectors, Rudy Gobert most of the time is in drop coverage, but I think he's an underrated defender in space. His defensive blow-by percentage has always been on the lower end. This year, with guards taking shots on drives against him, it's at 19%, which ranks fourth amongst qualified centers. Also, Guards are shooting the second lowest percentage in those situations against Gobert. I also think Chet Holmgren is way above the average in this area. Everybody knew coming out of Gonzaga that he was an incredible shot blocker with great timing, but he seems to also be very good shifting his body, keeping a wide stance, and staying light on his feet. That brings us to the interesting case of Victor Wembanyama. I'd say this is one of his weaker areas. So among those 31 big men who have defended at least 40 shots by guards on drives, Wemby has the worst blow-by percentage at 49.1%. What's even crazier is that according to Second Spectrum, that is the worst defensive blow-by percentage by a center against guards in a season since the stats started getting tracked in 2013-14. He falls for pump fakes quite a bit, and he just doesn't seem to move his feet all that well laterally. However, what's also important to know is that a lot of times, even when he gets beat off the dribble, his length is so incredible that he still manages to recover and block shots. Wemby is a phenomenal defender overall. His ability to alter shots coming from any angle and direction is unreal. When Wemby is on the court, San Antonio's defensive rating is 111.2, and when he's off, it's a team worst 118.5. Opponents always seem to be looking around to see where he is, as he causes that kind of havoc and hesitation. There are 8 centers who have a defensive blow-by percentage above 30% among those who have guarded at least 100 drives by guards this season. And they are Miles Turner, Nikola Vucevic, Domantas Sabonis, Alperen Şengün, Derek Lively II, Victor Wembanyama, Jared Allen, and Nikola Jokic. Regardless of position, the players that get blown past off the dribble on drives the most with a shot taken are Luka Doncic, Brandon Miller, Michael Porter Jr., Zion Williamson, and Kevin Huerter. Meanwhile, the 5 players that get blown past off the dribble the least on drives with a shot taken are Andrew Nembhard, Nick Claxton, Peyton Pritchard, OG Anunoby, and Precious Achiuwa. So that'll wrap up this video. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe.